against the global peer in terms of digitization and computerization, use of cloud, and all those capabilities that we look at basically. And it does talk about, like, if you go for these kind of technologies, you could say almost 50 to 60% of cost. You can improve the way the efficiency and productivity of your operations are basically, right? So for the experience, for the productivity, and for the creating new possibilities. So every organization, be it oil energy company, be it a power sector organization, be it a leading technology sector like banking or financial sector ecosystem, also the government nowadays, the digitization is so aggressive now, so voluminous, and especially in a country like India, because of the intervention that we see with the digital public infrastructure, like UPI or like Aadhaar that we have. So there is a force of digitization basically. You yourself want to do it, but there is another force, external force, ecosystem force is also on top of you to push you to do more digitization basically, right? So in that, we all are seeing, on one hand, there is a significant amount of push for digitization. Other hand, the tech landscape is also evolving. It is becoming more voluminous, more advanced, more invested basically. So in that case, there are various different areas of security that needs understanding under this context basically, right? And that's what we put together different kind of areas of security, and we dwell down basically into the different areas of security, and that's what the first day of annual security summit is always there. And so in 18th version, so Palo Alto is kind enough to really help us to set up this interaction, as well as be one of the significant player in this setting up all the 3 days of AISS basically. So thank you, Uzepa, thank you entire Palo Alto team for this. So in this session, I think, again, this is planned in such a way that, so this is not planned like we are just giving GAN here. This has to be more dialogue, consultative exercise that we want to put it together. And that's why we are starting with Palo Alto team talking to a CISO about this digitization I talked about, different sectors, and especially the sector of technology sector and business sector basically. And with that initial interaction, then we go deep down to the content that Palo Alto team want to put together. But focus here is not to talk too much about the product. It's talking about the architecture, talking about the best practices, talking about the engineering idea that are determining the way the technology is built for cybersecurity. And we want to make it more dialogue-based, so please feel free to intervene, ask questions in between. With this introduction, welcoming you all for this first interaction of a day 1 and 18th version of the AISS. I welcome you all and hand it over to the Josepa and Palo Alto team. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you, sir. All right, I think the context is set wonderfully well in terms of what the summit is and how we want to roll this session out. But when you read the heading, a day in the life of a future of a SOC analyst, that's what we intend to do. But I'll give you a quick shorthand version of what that future SOC analyst looks like. And then we'll get there throughout the next, whatever, 90 odd minutes, less than that. The future SOC analyst can eat his lunch peacefully, can go home in time in the evening, play with his kids, sleep well, and come back refreshed and motivated early morning. That's what the future SOC analysts look like. How we're going to get there, we'll let you know. So with that, for the next amazingly intuitive sessions, the first thing I want to do is welcome somebody who's walked this journey himself, leading some large organization and getting there, a personal friend as well. Please welcome Rishi Rajpal, Vice President Global Security, Concentrix. Welcome, Rishi. So everyone, what we're going to do is in the next 15 odd minutes, I'm going to set the contexts of why we are doing this and why each one of you should also be looking in terms of what that future SOC looks like, right? So let me give you a context. The threat landscape today has changed drastically, and I'll show you. I mean, the one biggest thing which has happened. Forget that. I mean, we've been talking about how the architectures have changed, how the users have spread across everything. The perimeter is vanished. A user can sit in the office, in a coffee shop, access applications which are no longer sitting in a data center but all across, right? So the applications have moved towards cloud architectures and stuff. So the entire digitization, the digital transformation that when Vinayak sir talked about, has led to one aspect of it in terms of how the digital landscape has changed, but the threat landscape over and above that, right? When this perimeter is vanished and there's so much of attack surface which has been exposed, on the other side, the threat landscape is leveraging AI and ML, right? Let's be clear and honest about it. And I'll throw you some stats. How is it leveraging it? The speed, the scale, and the nature of attacks has changed. Let's talk about speed. The average time earlier it took, Rishi, to infiltrate, reconnaissance, infiltrate, move across, and exfiltrate was on an average around 44 days, right? Recently, we just came across an incident that it was done in a matter of 13 hours, the entire attack in hours. Right? We've also seen that, while they are doing, the speed has increased. I don't know, you would have come across this incident in the recent past. There was a US company which got hacked, and by their SEC ruling, they are supposed to report it in 4 hours or X number of hours. It was a ransomware attack. They were refusing to do that. They were not ready to pay the ransom and stuff. So funnily, if he was not doing, the ransomware attacker informed the SEC that I have attacked him and they are not informing you, right? So that's the kind of speed we are talking about. In terms of scale, the LLMs and the generative AI has taken over. How many of you have heard about Warm GPT? You have, right? You have to have no knowledge of cybersecurity, coding, attacking, nothing. You just need to have a wrong intention, deep pockets, not even that maybe. And you get the malwares and malicious code at your disposal with the attack patterns you need. So that's the kind of scale we are talking about. And the nature, when you're talking about voice impersonation, deep fake videos, you have it. So the nature of threat landscape is completely changed. Now, does your traditional means of prevention, detection, and response are good enough? Absolutely not. And that's what we're going to chat. And Rishi, thank you so much, as always. Rishi, let me sort of kickstart this by your view in terms of in this change of threat landscape. What is the challenges that a SOC faces today, which has been built over the years in the last 10, 15 years of technology? What's your view on it?
So thank you. So the challenge of a traditional SOC is that as security leaders, we've been after data for many, many years, that this is not throwing data, this is not throwing data, this is not throwing data. And suddenly we solved the problem like 3-4 years back, and now we have a lot of data, and we don't know what to do with that data. So traditional SOCs have a problem of alert fatigue, which is like getting too many alerts. And then they are rule-based, because you are defining rules that I need this alert, that alert. And for the rules you have not defined, you lack visibility. Then obviously from a higher attrition, because people are doing mundane jobs, monotonous jobs, same alerts again and again. And then you tend to define severity of the events which is predominantly owned by OEMs, not relative to your environment. Now, company X may feel that from a rule perspective, this alert is low, but from your organization context, that may be high. Now, also traditional SOC fails when a low becomes high, so they cannot stitch a story that how this low became high. So these are some of the major shortcomings that we saw in traditional SOCs.
A very interesting point, and the one thing which stands out, which is while the industry has done a good job of putting a lot of preventive tools, and for every damn use case you have some security product collecting some data and going towards that. There's one thing which stands out is the alert fatigue, right? The number of alerts have just gone by many multipliers. You mentioned something about the low priority and high priority. I mean, in our context, what do you mean by the low fidelity alert, high fidelity alert? If you can just throw some light on that.
Yeah. So we tend to basically focus, traditional SOCs tend to focus on high, right? If somebody is trying to do a recon, low fidelity, right? Because I'll see when my threshold exceeds 20,000, right? What if the recon within few hundreds get in? Or let me take an example. You open an Excel file, there was a macro had a malware, whatever, right? Limited to a workstation, that's a low fidelity alert. Because the volume of alerts is so high, you tend to focus more on the high ones and you tend to leave out the low ones. Maybe just inform IT, he'll look at the local workstation, possibly re-image, whatever, right? What we have failed to do is, we've not analyzed the source of the problem. Now, it was 1, it became 2, it became 5. And when the speed of spread is more than the speed you can mitigate, it is bound to fail, right? So, for example, we know, and you said 13 hours, the latest stat is, if the ransomware operator is within your network for more than 1 hour 58 minutes, any organization cannot win that battle. 1 hour 58 minutes, which means that your mean time to remediate has to be lower than 1 hour 58 minutes. So that's the stuff we are talking about here.
Nice, and that's very nicely leading into the next question, which is, what should be the measurement of the SOC? What are the parameters? Are we, and the reason I say this, you use the term mean time to remediate, and there are others, I'm sure. And then there is another school of thought that it's all about compliance. SIM is all about compliance. If I've been faced with these set of regulatory compliance rules, if I do that, it's success. So how do you measure the success of a modern?
As I always say, compliance is a byproduct of security. Don't focus on compliance, focus on security. Compliance will come automatically. Compliance is a piece of paper for me. So if I talk about two metrics that you track is obviously mean time to detect and mean time to remediate. Why they have become very critical, and that should be part of every CISO dashboard. And that has to show a declining turn, because CISO should start questioning the efficacy of the SOC if they see an upward trend towards mean time to detect and mean time to remediate. Primarily, these are driven by two other metrics, mean time to patch and mean time to exploit. Because if I look at mean time to patch, that is increasing in the organization right now, because organization at large scale, I don't know how many of you can show me a raise of hand who can say that their machines are 100% patched. It's very difficult, right? That's the reason we have implemented other controls, EDR, XDR, because I know that I cannot achieve 100% patch compliance, right? And the number of days we are taking to patch a machine are going a little higher. But if you look at the other side, from an adversary side, exploiting a vulnerability is becoming lower and lower, which means the situation that we are in, we have to do something and modernize in a way that we can attack this problem. That is the reason, because the mean time to exploit is lower, your mean time to detect has to get lower. Otherwise, you are in for a problem.
Yeah, very nicely put. I mean, we generally look at MTD, MTDR, but the mean time to patch and mean time to exploit are the another ones subsidiary, which ties into this overall goal. So now let's talk about MTD, MTDR. I mean, the whole idea is, as I said, the future of SOC is how do you get this down as low as possible. In Palo Alto Networks, I'll just give a context of where we are, Rishi. We were obviously eating our own dog food, right? So our SOC, we get too close to 20-odd billion alerts in a day. We have done so much of automation, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next question, is that for us, and we are, by the way, the most attacked company in the world. You can imagine, right? Everybody wants to bring down Palo Alto Network. It's a different kick. Our mean time to detect is 10 seconds, and mean time to remediate is under a minute, right? So if you have to go towards that, obviously traditional means are not working. So Rishi, what do you think are the things required in this new age, modernized autonomous SOC that would drive us there?
So first of all, number of people in the SOC cannot directly correlate with the number of alerts. Because if you directly correlate the number of alerts to number of people, we will have hundreds of people in SOC and we are still not solving the problem. So it has to be machine based. I think some of the jargons that I work on is integrate orchestrate, automate, and remediate. So remember these words and spend most of your time in integration, orchestration, and automation so that you can remediate fast. Because we all want to spend time on remediation. And I'll give another analogy, what he states live in a life of a SOC analyst. I want life of a SOC analyst in a way that he doesn't want to go home. He wants to spend time in threat hunting. He wants to spend time in other domains rather than just watching an alert and closing the ticket. Because if you look at young people who come in SOC, they all want to learn, but they all want to do new things. But if you give them the old mundane task, if you see this alert, raise a ticket with IT, follow up if the machine is reimaged. If the machine is reimaged, close the ticket, right? But nobody is looking at the source. The analyst wants to spend time. If the file had a virus, where did the file come from? What is the source? Was a DNS query raised to that CNC? If the CNC is new or old, do I have an Intel card of that URL? If that URL card is recent, can I initiate a block request? If I initiate a block request, is this just a parent domain or a sub URL? Do I have deep inspection enabled? What does it take to have SSL encryption? So all that SOC wants to do rather than just closing the ticket. So give them a battlefield so that they can work.
Very nice. And anybody remembers the fourth thing he said? And this is not a KBC, but integrate, orchestrate, automate, remediate, right? Fantastic four simplified framework, focus on all. In a sense, I think what we're saying here is shift left, right? Go rather than just focusing on remediation, shift left. And if you apply orchestration, automation, get the machine to be the first thing to do rather than a human to do analytics. What you're doing automatically, as he said, is saving time for your analyst to do far more proactive work, which is spending more time threat hunting and going after this, right? That's the whole nutshell. So finally, Rishi, my final question to you is, you've personally walked this entire journey. We've worked very, very closely with you, right? And as we speak, the journey is not over. We are still walking there. You're a partner. How did you go about this journey? If you can share your thoughts, where you are in this journey, where you started from, and if you can.
So again, I moved from traditional SOC model to next gen, right, with you guys. My first objective was I had to consume SaaS. I cannot work on hardware-based SIMs anymore because you have a large setup, then you depute 3 people who are constantly monitoring hardware, doing RMAs, then hardware goes down, your log goes down, you lose compliance, and then you get into a problem like this. It has to be SaaS-based. AI. We talk about generative AI a lot. Let me just put it that way, the platform has to support precision AI. How precise your AI is to point out needle from the haystack that this is an alert you should look at. We all use two-factor. We feel two-factor is very, very secure. I can give you tens of examples where two-factor has been wiped off in just 5 minutes, right? Just simple phishing. I don't know if you've seen QR-based phishing emails. You just click a picture and your two-factor is gone. So is your platform intelligent enough to give you that anomaly from the logs? That guy, look at this. This is something new, not traditional. Secondly, how many playbooks you have made to remediate and automate some of the mundane tasks, right? We all struggle with phishing. This is the most comprehensive playbook that we have built over 3 months, where a phishing comes in, a user just needs to report that this is phishing. My analyst just clicks a button, yes, this is phishing, rest everything is taken care.
Wow.
It pulls back email from all users, it sends a block request to the firewall, it sends an email to the user that you were attacked by phishing, all that is automated. And it has like, mean time to remediate for phishing has come down from 9 hours to 21 minutes.
Wow, wow.
So that is the kind of stuff we all do. And how do you make sure that you are continuously improving is something that go to the whiteboard on a weekly basis with your SOC analyst. Okay, these were automated. These were the incident you worked manually. Can we look at automating some of these and make your life much easier? So that way, I think you will continuously improve.
Awesome. So cloud delivered, AI ML driven, autonomous SOC. Right, that's what I would summarize. And with that, thank you, Rishi. Thanks for your time. Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. So that was where I'll invite Arnav Khurana, my colleague, to take you to the rest of the session. It's very exciting, packed with summarizing whatever we just said, and also followed up with a demo and a workshop. So thank you. Thanks, Arnav.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hi, am I audible? Hello. Hi. 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 Very good morning to all of you. Thank you very much. Integrate, orchestrate, automate, and then remediation will follow definitely. So thank you, Rishi, for that amazing new jargon that you have given, and we'll definitely be using it a lot. As a sales guy, I would be. What I'll do is I'll take you through, we'll summarize, okay, what we discussed and what Josefa actually started with. First of all, what Vinayak actually said, the digitization. We all are here because there is a huge digitization that has happened in the last 5 years, especially during the COVID times, right? And during the COVID times, everybody has moved to cloud. You have actually got workloads which are like everywhere. But I give one analogy that our security operations earlier, those days of on-prem firewalls, you had endpoints, no cloud, no perimeter getting diminished, whatnot, looked like a cockpit of a plane which was very simple to fly. Now security operation looks like this. If there was no autopilot, can you think that a pilot can actually fly a modern aircraft manually? Look at the number of sensors he is seeing. That's what Rishi talked about. Alert fatigue. I didn't make this after I discussed with Rishi, by the way, but this is the fact. The analogy is there. That you have got so many sensors that a pilot or a human being who is actually flying that has to look at all those sensors, and if he's looking at all those sensors, he might not see what's happening in front of him. So he might miss that critical alert. And I keep on telling this to, in all the sessions that I do, that guys, gone are the days when we were actually hunting for needles in a haystack. You all know that idiom, right? We are actually hunting for needle in the stack of needles. All those great products that you have put in your organizations, on your perimeter, maybe the best firewalls in the world. Of course, they are Palo Alto firewalls, maybe somebody else's, but those firewalls are actually sending you a lot of alerts. Then you have put EDRs. Then you have put NTA. Then you have put threat intel platforms. Then you have put cloud data detection and response as well. What are you doing? You're putting sensors wherever you think that there is an element of possibility of an attack to happen. So you are actually covering all the attack vectors. What are these attack vectors doing? These attack vectors, the sensors, are actually sending a lot of data into your traditional SOC, which look like this. What will happen if I put more than 30 people in this plane? It won't even take off. Especially if you put people like me, I'm guaranteeing you it won't take off. The reason for that is that this kind of SOC will get overwhelmed. Because what has changed is, in last 5-6 years, let's make it interactive. How many of you are from the SOC side? Security operation side? 1, 2, 3, 4. Raise of hands. Yeah. Okay. What do you see in your SOC? What kind of alerts? Sir? Why don't you take a mic? Why don't we give a mic to, yeah. Puneet, Shyam, can you help? Yeah. Can you increase the voice, please?
network Trojan.
Network Trojan?
Like multiple logouts followed.
Access data, okay. Identity threats, maybe, yeah.
Some sort of alerts that we have manually created.
The rules that you would have created, right? But what happens if now you send all the data from your Amazon instances onto the same SOC?
Right now we are using an on-prem thing.
You're
not using cloud.
no, you're not using, but you're using cloud workloads? You've not started using cloud workloads as such, but imagine an enterprise which have started using cloud workloads. So what will I do? To have the visibility into my SOC, I will send the data from cloud also to the same SOC on-prem. Now I have also created an EDR layer. How many of you have EDR in your organizations? Everybody, right? What is the difference between an NGAV and EDR? NGAV just got the incidents and events. What EDR gives you? Entire telemetry, all the processes running in your environment. And imagine I'm sending all of that data into the SOC. So what I'm doing is, I'm actually making the life of this guy who is a SOC analyst hell. Then comes the second point that we talked about. The SOC, the future SOC guy, Huzefa said he should be able to go home. Do you think this guy can go home? Then Rishi talked about he doesn't want his SOC guy to go home. He should spend more time doing proactive threat hunting. This guy is looking at alerts. Can he do? Not. Right? I'm just talking about the discussion that Huzefa and Rishi had. Nothing different. The issues are there. They are well-founded issues in any enterprise, big or small. Whether you come from an organization which is 2,000 users or you come from an organization which is 200,000 users, issues remain. Because Rishi talked about a very, very important thing. Attrition. I've got one SOC for maybe 2,000 people. I can only afford 2 SOC analysts. I've got 200,000 people. Can I afford 2,000 analysts? Absolutely not. Am I getting them? No. We live in the world where the skill shortage is perpetual, permanent. And that is why the problems that we see result in the next thing that my dear friend Huzefa and very close friend Rishi talked about, MTTD and MTTR. If you are not able to actually analyze various products that you have put in and they are not talking to each other, you're not able to correlate that, then this bald analyst, if you want to lose hair, you should work in this kind of an environment. I'm balding. But the fact remains that this analyst is not able to actually analyze all of this. So what is the fallout of that? The fallout of that is that he's getting a lot of alerts. He's not able to see them. He's not able to detect them in time. Mean time to detect is actually going off. It is going off more than the mean time to exploit today, which Rishi talked about. And if your detection is actually slower than the exploit, then what Huzefa talked about, the attack, that complete attack happened in 13 hours, is going to happen. I'm not scaring you guys. What I'm telling you is that this is what is happening in a traditional SOC environment. So what I'm going to introduce to you, not talking about the product, not talking about the platform, but something that Palo Alto actually has done after listening to you guys. And this problem we are trying to solve for. How we are trying to solve for is that, and we are going to do actually a demonstration of it today, but this is not from a perspective of selling a product to you. It is from a perspective of understanding your environment, understanding your requirement, and you see if this approach suits you or not. Because you can take this approach yourself, but good thing is that we have already done it for you, okay? What we are saying is that if we have to drive security outcomes, as Rishi talked about, those MTTDs, MTTRs, mean time to patch, mean time to actually contain those threats, we are actually talking about simplify security operations for that, easing the life of SOC, stop threats at scale so that the guy can go home and meet his kids, but accelerate incident remediation so that he can spend time threat hunting, something that is happening in the wild. He wants to hunt it in his environment. Does he have time today? Do you do proactive threat hunting? Those SOC guys who raise hands? You don't have time. You don't have time to actually hunt threats in your environment. If there is a threat intel report, oh, let it wait. I've got 8,000 incidents to look at. Do you agree with me, sir? That's a fact of life. And what we need to do is, we need to actually create, how can we create this kind of an environment? Rishi talked about two very, very important things. Machine learning based, AI ML based. Okay, why AI ML based? Why do we want our SOC to be AI ML based? Anybody? Let me ask you a question. How many alerts do you think come in a day's time today? Recorded new malwares in a day, globally. Very quickly. I want to hand it off to my colleague, so I'm just rushing you in. Just, okay, this low. Any guess? Give me a guess. Maybe 10 TB data. Number of new malwares. So can you give me a number? Thousands. 1,000 per day, globally, 1,000 new attacks. And then we're talking about so many others that are happening every day. So 1,000. So in 1 year, 365,000. My God. What about this? Sorry? 1,500. So 1,000 to 1,500. Sir, do you agree with this guy? You agree? Sir? You don't seem to agree. Almost 200 to 300,000. 200, yeah, lakhs will be 2 lakhs to 3 lakhs. 200,000 to 300,000. This, my dear friend. Yes?
No, 20,000.
2.53 million new recorded malwares every day, not excluding Saturdays and Sundays, every day were being recorded in 2021. That number would have gone up only. That makes it 950 million new attacks in a year. Can you solve that with a human SOC? Can you fly that plane? No. Not at all. You need AI/ML. That is why you need, if you want your SOC guy to have sanity, you need AI/ML. Because what he cannot even think of, and Rishi talked about a very important thing, human correlations. What this guy cannot think of, AI/ML actually can think about that. How? By using MITRE ATT&CK framework. How many of you know about MITRE ATT&CK framework? You all know about MITRE ATT&CK framework? If I can map my machine to detect any tactic, any technique, any procedure on that MITRE attack automatically, does it solve your problem of writing correlation rules? It does. It does so well. You will see today when my friend Shyam comes in. So what we are saying is, you have to stop threats at scale with AI/ML. Okay? And when you are actually correlating the data at one place, then only you can actually save time. Because now I'm not looking at firewall alerts separately than my endpoints alerts, because I had a SIM which was correlating that data, but that was human correlation. Now I'm bringing in endpoint data, I'm bringing in firewall data, I'm bringing in web proxy, whatnot, into one place, and let AI/ML decide, not on 5 parameters like timestamp, header, email header, no. 900 different parameters to correlate data, how it will happen, correlated with MITRE ATT and CK framework, so that I can actually look at everything which is happening in my environment. So that when SOC guy actually has his good cup of coffee in the morning and he comes, AI/ML has already done 5 things for him. What are those 5 things? He has already actually given the severity to the incident. It has already checked on VirusTotal whether it is a true positive or false positive. Okay, so the context. It has already started actually remediating the incident using the SOC automation that my dear friend Rishi talked about. So analyst will do what? He'll say, okay, my machines have done this. Let me do threat hunting on this now. Now what you were saying me, no, we don't have time for threat hunting. Now you get time for threat hunting. Okay? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? This is the AI analysis engine. Alerts coming from whatnot you have. getting into incidents, automated closed, only 16 getting into the analyst's pocket. He looks at them, he's done with for the day, spends his time with his family or does proactive threat hunting, as Rishi talked about. What we are trying to do, we are trying to say that no matter what sensors you have, AI/ML has to work on all of them. So how do we do it? Let's take back the problem to integration. Integration, orchestration, automation, and remediation. Integration. So we have to integrate all of them together. Once we have integrated all of them together, we have to do the stitch and normalize that data and orchestrate the flow of the machines as per the standard operating procedure followed in my organization. Orchestration is important for the context of the organization. What Rishi also actually talked about is that change request process. How many of you face the change request process every day of your lives? Every day. I have to block a port on firewall. Oh, raise the change request. There is an attack happening. Raise the change request. Let business decide. We will be doomed. Target got doomed. WannaCry happened. NotPetya happened. MERS got doomed. Because MTTD and MTTR were way off. That's what I'm talking about. And that is what I'm saying is this is a real life data. What Rishi talked about as the life of a SOC analyst of today, this is the life of SOC analyst, not of future, because XIM brings in the future today. This is launched. This is there. Ingesting much more data than ever before, because it's SaaS. As Rishi talked about, you cannot have on-prem hardware to run your SOC anymore. Fewer false positives, saving time for the analyst. Minimal automation to high majority automation because the tool comes with orchestration and automation built in. If I have to block a port on firewall, the tool will block the port on the firewall. You don't have to do it. If you still want change request, tool will automate the flow of change request. Orchestration will be done within the tool itself. And then the incidents closeout rate automatically goes up to 100%, which was only less than 20% because alert fatigue was there. So it's time to transform the SOC. Forget about the summary that I have written. Only 4 things that I would say, which Rishi has actually set the stage for us. Integrate, orchestrate, automate, and remediate using a AI/ML tool. And that is why we have already started actually seeing third-party industry validation for our platform. We are defining this market. This is not any SIM. This is not Splunk, QRadars, and whatnot. This is changing the game because this actually has the SIM, the EDR, the SOAR, the threat intel platform, all built into a single platform. And to keep me honest, and for you to actually fly safely, I will now bring in Shyam Pillai, who has almost like 40 minutes to take you through the demonstration of what we talked about and how we gel with what Rishi talked about. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for being here. Have a great 3 days in DSCI. Really, really happy. If you do not agree with me, we can have a cup of coffee and we can discuss, okay? So let's have those interactions going. Thank you very much, Shyam.
Hi, I hope I'm audible, and let's say, so I'm just putting myself into the shoe of an analyst. How? So typically when an analyst wanted to see his, I would say when he opens a laptop, what incident he has been assigned, that's the first thing he'll be looking across. Before that, he wants to make sure that what all, I would say, data sources which his SOC or is been integrated, whether it's the alerts from that particular data sources are getting ingested, and how much of them is basically, I would say, getting accumulated together in one single incident, and how much is manually being waiting for an analyst to approve to close the incident, and how much is ordered. So we call this as a command center. Sorry, can you play the video? Thank you. So this is how it looks. You can see that there are multiple log sources. It will be from basically EDR. It can be from the public cloud platform. It can be any third-party devices. All this data is going towards I would say, a data lake. In the data lake, we are doing normalization, parsing, correlation, and as well as analytics. Once it has been divided, basically an alert is generated. That alert, we are typically, if there are already automated rules, it will automatically handle the incident. Second thing is that if it is waiting for the analyst to validate. Now, from an analyst, typically what happens is that he will see a set of incidents or alerts which will be mapped to him. Now, it will be curious, he wants to really understand what all tactics or techniques Maitre of that particular incident is assigned to him. That's where the Maitre attack framework coverage is there, where you will be able to see the entire techniques and tactics against what all rules are available within the machine, and it also shows you what are incidents which has been tagged to that Maitre attack framework. Once I see that, which has been assigned to me, I can dig deeper, look in the inside, and then go to. Now, when we talk about incidents or alerts, it is basically to validate an incident. It's all about artifacts, right? You guys agree with me? Now, from when we do an artifact can happen from an endpoint telemetry data, or it can happen from an alert data which the particular tool or the aggregator is doing. So once you have that, you can look inside what really happened. Now, what we are going to see is that now in the left-hand side, you can see there are cloud, endpoint, identity, and network. Why we are defined in this, that typically any attack can happen. It can happen basically 4 channels, either from the endpoint channel, the network channel, the cloud channel, or let's say the network channel. We are grouping this as a one single story. Means network as a story, cloud as a story, identity as a story, and endpoint as a story. Fine. Can you play the video? So you can see here, the analyst can go and look what are the rules or conditions which is associated, where all that the tactics is being used. He can double click and go inside and look whether what are the detection rules are available, what are the protection rules. When you click it across, it shows you the metrics, the modules associated with it, the rules associated. If you want to see the correlation or custom rule which a particular analyst has created, it is pretty easy. It is same in the dashboard. He can just navigate from, and when he wants to see the associated incident which is mapped to him, he goes to directly to the incident, where you can see multiple alerts where it is being grouped into one single incident. Now, when we talk about a SOC, it is basically alert fatigue, right? Now, the analyst has to work on so many alerts, and then he has to either manually close it or manually to put it to his L3 or to assign to someone to take additional. So first thing what we are doing is that we are doing an alert grouping into one single incident, where an alert which have similar in nature, we are grouping that using our machine learning capability. Just continue. No, it's going fast. To go back a little bit more. No, just go back, please. I'm sorry, it's a recorded view. We didn't have the others would have shown in lively. It went a little fast. Yeah, play. So when we are starting this discussion in the beginning, Rishi typically mentioned that the continuous alert, what you are seeing, basically you need to know which are completely automated and which can be automated. Means every day he is seeing the same alert, the analyst is seeing, he don't need to work on those alerts every day. It should be automatic. So the third phase of what the tool does is that it also shows you what are the number of alerts which is already automated, which are going to manually done, and as well as what can be automated in the future. So that dashboard gives that information. Also, in the future, what are the alerts which the particular analyst was doing manually using a workflow can be automated, so that his repetitive action can be completely automated out of everyday tasks, and he can also. So that's where the mean time to response for a customer we can minimize in, I would say, in a minutes rather than in hours. It's going fast. Can you just go ahead and I'll just ask you to pause. You can just pause there, please. Sorry for the inconvenience. Just go in the front a little bit, please. Meanwhile, any questions? Yeah, just hold, let's hold. Okay, sorry, thanks for that. So this was showcasing. This is basically an alert grouping what I was talking earlier. This actually, I don't know, somehow there's some issue with the video. So what happens is that you can see there are multiple log sources, multiple alerts. You can see that it is coming from, the source can be an endpoint, the source can be a Fortinet firewall, a source can be any third-party security device using a correlation rules, or let's say, I would say, automatic, basically the AI-driven intelligence can identify any abnormal traffic happening in an environment. So if you see, there is a correlation rule which we have written for basically for the FortiGate firewall. Basically, large data upload is happening. So basically, large data upload when we talk, it's basically you can't validate whether it's a malicious or not. It can be a user somehow all of a sudden he has upload, but it can come as I would say a low alert. Now when we look from an analyst, it is pretty hard to identify whether it is done by the user or it done by an application. If it is done by the user, you can just go and check whether to the particular user, hey, have you done this or not? Based upon his reply, yeah, I have done because it's something I require to upload to the cloud. That's the reason, right? Now in today's world, to understand that there is a large upload happen is not possible, because how we are able to do is that we are creating a baseline. So baseline from the user side, baseline from the third-party application logs. So because of that, I can easily tell you that, hey, there is a deviation against his usual pattern. Means I have seen this guy for last 30 days, there is a abnormal increase of traffic at so and so time, so and date. Now, once I identify that, the second advantage, rather than the user or the analyst go and check on the user, whether the user has initiated the traffic or let's say any application has done, that's where the curiosity happens, right? So to identify, as the tool automatically records or collects all artifacts, you can easily identify that. Can you just start it, please? Display. So anyway, this is again covering the particular, I would say, mapping it to the MITRE tactics. That's what we have seen on the earlier page. Just play, please. Play. Yeah, so this was basically talking about the analytics capability. So how an abnormal traffic has happened. So it typically gives you more insight if it is done by an application, the execution. The reason because we have a rich telemetry agent which is sitting on the endpoint, which is doing a continuous metadata collection on every activity which is happening either on the server, endpoint, or so wherever this user is present, wherever he's trying to log in your environment, we are recording it. So that's how, if there is a deviation, we'll be able to identify. Now, if you double click and go, and if you want to see drill down further to, let's say, basically you need to validate, hey, whether this is which particular process has done, which particular artifact has, because based upon that artifact, we will be able to validate whether it's a true positive or false positive. Now, artifact can be a domain and I would say process and a hash value. Now, typically what we do is that we take that particular hash value, and we typically all of us trust VirusTotal a lot. We go paste there and validate out of VirusTotal, out of 48 members who was given malicious or non-malicious. There are other, let's say, Rishi sir earlier mentioned about the phishing URL. So fish tank is one more example. This is a freeware. We go and check whether that particular URL is malicious or non-malicious. You have, like, there are a lot of threat repositories available. To manually go and validate, it's pretty. Sometimes what happens is that you don't even get any information. It's like benign in nature. So in that scenario, how you do? So that's where we do have the threat intelligence, which is already inbuilt with the solution, which has come with Palo Alto, as well as it can integrate with any third-party threat intelligence as well. We collect the data, as the artifacts are already available. What we do is that we'll validate automatically whether this particular hash value is malicious or non. It can be any, the artifact can be anything. The mapping we can adjust accordingly. So that particular artifact is malicious against all the threat intelligence vector, we can do automatically. Now, to do this activity from a it's a legacy SOC, from your experience, how much time it takes? 1 hour, half an hour? Now, the same thing I am doing within less than a minute, because it's the moment the alert is generated, this all things happens automatically. That's how we are able to reduce the mean time to detect from hours, we are reducing to in a minute time. Can you just play, please? So if you see here, the same thing which I was explaining, so I'm just opening one particular incident. This is basically the artifact collection. You can see the alert details. And you also, just hold on a minute. So you are able to see the value which we have collected in the down. So that is basically the artifact what we have collected. So in this alert, it is basically, basically that's my sandboxing result which has been come here. So it says that this is a malicious file. So one more thing is that now, let's say the particular analyst thinks, hey, I have a block which I have already identified. That from that block, that particular IPs I want to enrich in the machine. Now, in today's world, any other, I would say, environment, he has to manually do that. He has to manually create a correlation. But what we can do is that in the right-hand side, in the, I would say, on the below, there is something called extract indicators from a blog or from a URL. The moment the analyst just copy-paste his URL, whatever the IOs is, because any blog you will get a domain, IP address, everything, we automatically puts this into the to the machine, and it automatically validates against that particular IOC, hey, this is malicious, non-malicious, and the result is published. To do that itself, it takes a long time. The machine is doing automatically for you. Just press that. Now, if you see, now what we can want to show you is that the moment I click the particular, you will get all the relationship between, where you can see virus total is also given, because I am fetching information from virus total as well, and there is a reliability as well. So you can see C as a fairly reliable, which means that it is basically as a, I would say, more malicious, and so that action. Now, second thing is what? Is basically, once you identify, now it's a double clicking of that, the artifact. So the tool is automatically collecting the artifact. Now in the casualty details, you can see, so that was I was explaining to you, we need to understand that large upload, whether it is happening from a machine driven or a user driven. So as the endpoint is already sitting, it is collecting the rich metadata. You can see from the casualty details, you can easily identify that this is a application driven. That is highly suspicious, because using a simple DLL side loading attack, and that particular application can be compromised, and a data exfiltration happens. Now, on a simple example, if I take Microsoft Teams, I'm sorry to use the vendor name, but that is basically using the Teams is such an application, because of it can't be restricted, it is mostly allowed on, basically allowed from or whitelisted from the network or proxies. To do a data exfiltration, it is pretty easy to target, or let's say find that if there is a vulnerability in the Teams, you can do, or Teams or any, I would say, Teams like application, you can easily do a DLL side logging, I would say DLL attack, make himself a super user, and then from there the data exfiltration can happen. Means the data can send outside. You can have a CASB solution. It depends upon the organization policy. If you are monitoring, yes, well and good. But everyday activity, if there is a deviation, to understand that, it is pretty hard. So what we are doing is that we are identifying the user activity, we are identifying the network activity. Based upon that, we are creating a baseline and giving an alert. whether this is a suspicious. This particular alert comes not on a critical or high. It is coming under low and medium. And this is where most of the attacks I would say, goes undetected. And most of the time, so every MTTR or MTD, I would say, it is always mapped to high and critical. Low and medium never get considered. So when we are talking about MTD and MTTR, it's across low, medium, high, and critical alerts. Right? So you will be able to get all the information available based upon, now you have all the, means the detection is happened. Now second is response part. Now how do you respond? So as I do have integration with all, there are around 1,000+ integration which is available with my product, with the third party solution, response action. So when I say response action, it can be based upon, it can be an API, it can be your machines can be on-prem or securities can be on-prem, or it can be a SaaS-based product, doesn't matter. We do have API integration based upon the workflow which you have defined. For example, a large upload data has happened. Now, that particular data, you will be able to see a host name from here, and there is an IP address. That host name, you can say that, send an email to that particular host name, whether he has done that or not. If he says, you can wait, that particular response can wait for XYZ time. If the response is coming, then take XYZ action. If it's not coming, take next XYZ. Basically, you identified it's malicious, go and block that particular hash value or domain on your proxies, your EDR solution, your firewall, and your SASE solution you are having. This can happen automatically. Now, if I take a step back and I say manually if you want to do, there will be 5 minimum approvals required. Post that approval, taking an action again will take some time, right? Agree or disagree? Agree, right? That is the time frame basically we are reducing, the MTTR we are reducing in minutes. Please plus. So, you're getting the fields available. Now let's say if you want to manually isolate the machine or restore the file, everything you can do this from this console itself. So it gives you an flexibility to, I would say, to get every pattern. And there is one more thing is that war room. For example, you automatically identified. So any analyst, what all activities is doing, it's already recorded. And Arnav was explaining that manually, without using automation, just hold on please, without doing an automation, if you want to, let's say there is a particular one IP address, you have to block immediately from that particular war room with one click of, let's say, IP address equal to block in the file. Like this English statement if you put, it will go automatically go and block in your gateway solution. To do that, simple this task, the analyst has to write an email to the firewall guy. The firewall guy has to validate again, and then he needs to take an action. It takes a lot of time. Let's say half an hour. This I can easily done within a minute. And that's where the difference is. That's where how the mean time to response we are reducing. Now, I was explaining to you earlier is basically on the large. This is basically an integration with FortiGate firewall, where the large upload data over FTP we have seen. If you can play. It's going fast. Just can you go back a little bit. Okay, just go back. I guess there is some issue with the video. So what happened is that, so that particular automation, the workflow, the automation workflow is just like a data structure. Means if you say, if a condition you are mentioning, if this has happened, then take this action. So that workflow can be defined according to your organization policies. So that can be easily done. Once that workflow is set against any alert, you can run. For example, we all, identity threat is one of the, I would say, major concerns in today's environment. And if an organization get hacked, identity is the first piece which gets compromised, means the user. Now, if a user is doing abnormal activity, and that is automatically tagged with MITRE tactics, let's say credential access. So, sir, you were explaining earlier multiple login failures. That was a use case you mentioned. Now, I am giving multiple login failure typically uses a particular event ID from Windows called 4625. Okay, or 4624, whatever you can say that. If that event ID is there, and there are, so typically in a SIM, what happens is that you write a correlate or a condition-based rule. If there are 4 times of tryout happen, if 5th is been a successful login, take a report. So this is a classic example of password spray attack on an endpoint. Now, if this is happening, typically what happens, we as a user, sometimes we forget the password, we enter same scene. It can be a false positive, right? That is where the analytics comes in picture, because I can say that this is a behavior, abnormal behavior seen in the pattern. I can see whether this has been done by this user or it is done by a reverse shell connection, right? These two things I can easily validate. Once I validate that, I can automatically tag. So basically, if this kind of attack happens, basically there is a sub technique which Maitre says called credential access. So I can write a rule, basically, just an automation. If this kind of attack, multiple login attempts is happening, and it is mapped to the Maitre credential access, automatically disable the user from AD, from log his laptop, disable the user from the network. All this can happen on the fly. That's how we can successfully block a credential access attack if it's happening to, or if a password spray attack is happening to the endpoint, I can take that. Just want to take a pause here. Any questions on? Absolutely right. So basically what we do is that we do a baselining, right? So when we to do baselining, we also look what is his past activities and present activities. So there is a score also. We call it as smart score. That smart score say, hey, for XYZ reason, this particular activity which I have not seen in past 30 days, I have seen, and we put a score from 0 to 100. So when we write a rule basically from 50 to 100. So in the workflow, we can also put a condition to ask the user, hey, have you done that or not? This can be done. Now, one same classic example, why I took this example of password, the MGM attack you might have heard, right? Now, how the MGM attack initially happened is based upon a social networking. Means the IT guy, or some hacker just called the IT guy, hey, I'm not able to access my device. Allow me. He just pressurized the guy. Because of the dependence, because of the IT guy got scared, he just gave the access. The IT guy, he didn't even check whether that particular user is a valid user or not. This kind of scenario, this is a flip question to you, sir. This is abnormal behavior because the user is accessing from outside organization, from outside organization laptop, he might be trying to log in. So we look all these parameters. How we are looking is that we bring complete visibility to your environment, means 360-degree visibility. Basically, I'm collecting metadata from your endpoint, network, cloud. Cloud, when I say, is basically a SaaS application as well as public cloud, because the user can travel from your on-prem to the cloud resource as well as on the, I would say, identity. So identity, when I say, it is your Active Directory logs also I'm fetching in. So all this telemetry, I'm validating how the user is coming in. So it's not one single parameter. So password spray attack, when sir was asking the same question, the password spray when attack, I look from where this attack, the source is where, whether it's your corporate network or it is from your outside internet. Now taking that example, if it is corporate network, I can put a condition, send an email to that guy, to the user, hey, have you done or not? Based upon his response, the action can be taken. If it is directly from outside your corporate IP address, I can take an XYZ action. So that's how I can identify. Yes?
I have one question, like as you said, in the action items, the tool can automatically disable the AD of the user if it appears to be a password spray attack. So if we want to add custom actions, for example, if we only want to do the password reset for that particular user for some reasons, so can we add that apart from taking such harsh actions at that particular time?
The answer is yes, you can do. It's basically a condition to which you are defining to the Active Directory. So yes, answer is possible. Now typically, I'm sorry to cut you, typically in any organization solution, there will be a MFA device. So you can also tell the MFA to reset the user. This is also possible. So it's just a condition. So that's a workflow. You can define how you need to do. So,
sorry, I'm interjecting.
Yeah.
So that's where the orchestration piece comes in. You decide the orchestration based on your organization's context. You don't need to just follow what we are doing because this is pre-built, but you can always customize it as per your need.
So just to take a step ahead what Arnav was explaining, you don't need to write any codes. It is just drag and drop. and just mentioning the condition in pure English language. That's it.
Okay. Just one more question. Like, does this tool have any module or template for insider threat detections?
Yes, it do have.
Okay. Thank you.
So that is basically a classic example of identity analytics. So we create a baselining for all user activity. If there is any deviation from that baselining, we flag that, or we put a score to the particular user saying that. So score, when I say there are two scenarios, where the user is in your premises. Now we all are working from a work from home condition. We are giving the access user. So there can be a scenario where the user is working from his personal device as well, and as well as from his corporate devices. So sometimes most of us mobiles are given access to connect to the corporate email. Now in the same thing, if it is, let's say there are two emails which is well known in the web. One is O365 suite, the second is the G Suite part, right? Both of the things, if the user is accessing from his personal device, it is pretty easy for a particular malware can come to your drive or to your personal laptop, because there is a sharing lot to happen. You can say, hey, I can have a CASB solution which scans, does that, but sometimes if it is a stealthy malware, it doesn't have any information, it is completely missed from the CASB solutions, because the CASB does a offline scanning on the drive, right? Now that is where the behavior threat detection, that's what classic example, thanks for bringing the question, inside a threat. Now if the guy is coming inside, sometime he's just doing, let's say he's doing the execution happens from the memory. CASB is not going to detect, it need to detect from the endpoint from where this execution is happening. So that's where the EDR agent, which is already sitting on the endpoint, takes an action. It identifies, it takes an automatic action to block that execution. By default happens within the solution. Just play please. So here, a coming example, so this we call it as free text. No, can you just go back a little bit, a little going slow, and just pause. Now, for example, now this is one of classic. When I met a customer, what he knew to understand his security efficacy, the customer does a DJ, domain generating algorithm, with lot of IPs, well-known IPs, and I would say URLs, domain name. He just bombard from his local machine to outside. The objective of his goal is to identify which all security device is able to catch or not, right? Now, let's say if it is some device, basically he need to understand how tightly for XYZ users and XYZ, I would say, security products, that is his security is tightened. So that for that he does this testing. Now, sometimes what his pain point area is that he will see that there are a lot of misses happens, okay, and he also sees that these are the endpoint, these are, because in the gateway or proxy solution he will be able to source, but he is not able to identify that either it is a process has done or it is a human, means basically which application has done. Now he wants to see if he put, it can be, when we talk about free text, you just need to put it can be a domain URL IP. The moment he put domain URL, wherever this IP is present, the tool automatically looks and brings the result. It can be multiple data sources, it can. So the complex threat hunting, we are simplifying pretty easily. Please play. Yeah. And then this is basically, one more thing is that the tool also does a, I would say, playbook recommendation, so that the user doesn't need to confuse that which playbook I need to execute. We do have that capability as well. And also this is basically the free text part. Now, typically what happens is that if you want to open a support ticket itself, you have to go to a different console on any other, I would say you want to. What we had simplified is that the same tool itself, you can open the support ticket if you want to. So basically, as well as any tab where you are clicking, it also gives you the user guide. So typically there are 10, 20, no, everyone won't be an expert on the product, right? He wants to read. He doesn't need to go to user guide. Now any tab he is clicking, there is a text message, and this particular tab is used for XYZ action, every result. Last but not the least, we also have the Copilot functionality. If you ask any questions, the tools also will give you result. Why this is alert, all this information is available. I am running short of the time, and that's the reason I just play the video and just showcase you what I just said. Please play the video. So you can see get the results has happened, which I explained to you earlier. This is the playbook condition. You also have something called I'd say directly from, if you want to see custom query, which the free text was happening on the backend, the same custom query which is done. This is the backend process, but we are doing manually. The tool automatically does for you. And then you have the, yeah, okay, one more thing I missed is basically, if you want to create your own machine learning rules, the tool you based with the help of Jupyter Notebook, yes, you can do that. So machine learning customized rather than the, I would say the machine learning capability. If you want to bring your own custom AI rules, yes, it is possible. That is basically using Jupyter Notebook. The tool is ready with that. As well as if you want to, basically this was explaining on the in-app documentation. So any tab, if you click, you will be able to see the help center will automatically come in, so that what particular tab talks, all those information is available. You don't need to go and look on the user guide. It is all, because we wanted to simplify as much as possible the life of a SOC analyst. If you want to open it, automatically takes you the specific content of that documentation as well. And the last one is basically if you want to take an action, all those information is available. Plus, the last part will be the co-pilot. I'm running short of time. Just want to thank you for that. Before departing, any questions for me? Yeah.
Can help us with the zero-day attacks?
I can hear. Can you speak on the mic, please? Mic is there. Thank you.
So my question to you is like the zero-day attacks can also be handled through the deviation which are being observed in this.
Sorry,
and zero-day attacks.
Yes, it can be, because the behavior threat detection can be done. So I'm just wrapping up. I'll connect you one-on-one. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Puneet. I'm just inviting Puneet on the street.
Thanks, Jam. I don't need this. Good morning, everyone. Just to check if everyone is still alive. Okay, I think a lot of learnings. I belong to Palo Alto, but still every time I see presentations and a fireside chat with CISOs, there are a lot of learnings I take back home. I think it will be a good invested 90 minutes for you. So after learning, what happens, right? So if anyone can tell what happens after learning. Quiz. Yeah, it's quiz, it's test. So it's a 4-step. I'll ask a question, simple. Someone gives me an answer. So everyone claps for him, whosoever gives the answer, and I'll give a voucher to him. So I have a few vouchers to give away. And these 4 very simple steps, you'll be doing some legwork. That means a bit of exercise. You'll be clapping for everyone will clap for him. So that's again some exercise, and also keep you warm in the Delhi winters, right? So I'll start with very simple, the first one. So I think everyone talked about MTTR, MTTD, and there were 2 more terms which was coined by Rishi. So I saw him first. So sorry. Yeah, that's right. So the 3rd step is you have to come running here. 4th step is already been taken. So what's your name, sir? Sandeep. Thanks, Sandeep. This is for you. Thanks. So thanks, Sandeep. So this was the easiest one, right? So, so I'll give a chance to this lady if she raises again for me, right? So, in the conversation between Huzaifa and Rishi, there was a conversation around a hacker. If he remains in the environment for some time, then the chances of getting compromised is maximum. Okay, a lot of hands. So I have to pick one. So I'll pick one. Maybe not you, but sorry for that. I'll pick one from the last because he's raising the biggest hand, so I'll pick him up. So if you can introduce yourself.
I'm C. Pradeep Kumar. I'm from HPCL, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited.
So.
Yeah, if the attacker stays for more than 1.58 hours, like 1 hour 58 minutes.
Wow.
There is no chance.
I thought no one will be able to answer that because it was early in the discussion and it was exact 1 hour 58 minutes. Thanks if you can come running here, Deepak. See, Deepak, I can make it easy and someone come and give it over here, but I want you to come over here so that we can shake hand once. And yeah. Thanks, Deepak. This is for you. Thanks. Sorry, Pradeep. Thanks. Okay. The next one is around where most of us stand now on the legacy SOC. So there are 3 challenges, major challenges, which was there in Arnav's presentation in a legacy SOC, which we all struggle with. There are 3 challenges. So I know you won't be able to term it as it is, but if you can be near to the explanation, I'll be good. I'll give lady the chance. So she raised the hand first. Ma'am, if you can just take a mic and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ojasvi.
Yeah.
And the 3 major challenges listed were alert fatigue, rule-based, and high attrition.
High attrition.
Yeah.
Okay, very near, but I'll consider it as a part of process, not as a part of complete SOC. So I'll give someone other a chance, but I'll hold you. Thanks, Ojasvi. Anyone else? Yeah, I'll give him a chance. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The amount of data and the instrumentation and the means of analyzing that data were very limited. So therefore, an SOC analyst has to look at a lot of alerts, and he cannot do proactive threat hunting, which is more profitable in the longer run. So this might be the greatest challenge.
2. If you can cover one more, I'll give you the voucher. So you said sort of alert fatigue, and then you said manual interventions.
Proactive threat hunting is not possible in a legacy SOC.
And
you get overwhelmed by all the data, and therefore your response times are very slower.
Anyone can add to the points? Yeah, you. Lack of SaaS-based system is one. Integration, visibility. Yeah, lack of visibility is one. So it's more of you use a lot of tools, and I'll give it to him because he answered to 2 points. Thanks, Shubham. Thanks, Shubham. Okay, the clapping I think is everyone is not clapping, so you're missing on the exercise. Please, if you can clap for Shubham. Thanks. Thank you so much. Okay, the next question is again around MTTR. So after that SOC transformation, which we talked and we saw in a beautiful demo by Shyam, and we actually want to be there because his video was running so fast. So everyone want to have remediations that fast, right, in a SOC. So it was correlating to what we want to achieve. So again, once you transform our SOC, what is achievable MTTR from 44 days, which we said. What you see is you might have seen in the presentations and in the demo as well, the MTTR which is achievable using SOC transformation. So the last one, he's raised the hand first.
With the new one, it is expected within 1 hour.
Within 1 hour, okay. Yeah, within 1 hour is a decent answer. Yes, I'll give a chance to.
44 hours was taken. Now it is coming to 13 hours. And if you are using the advanced SOC, then it is with use of ML and AI, it is less than 2 minutes.
Okay, less than 2 minutes. 13 hours was one specific example. Less than 2 minutes is too ambitious. Okay.
Written.
Sorry.
Yes, my name is Kisle. I saw in the presentation it was saying 16 minutes.
Yeah, very near to it. I'll give it to you. It's around 15 minutes. 15 minutes to, depending upon the type of attack, it goes from 15 to 5 hours. If you can come over here, yeah. Hey, Kishle. Thanks. Big round of applause for Kishle, please. Thanks. Okay, the next is, I'll again give a chance to this lady if she raises hand again. So what is the core of a SOC? So once we say, you need to have a automated SOC, you need to have a SOC which can give you MTTR of 15 minutes, 2 minutes, too ambitious, but yeah, 15 minutes. And we want to have complete visibility integration. What do you feel, a single word, is the heart of any future SOC? Okay.
SIEM, basically.
No, SIM is legacy. We don't want to use SIM in future SOC anyways. So SIM gives you a lot of alerts, right? That's what we want to solve over here. I'll give a chance to her because you are not raising, so I'll give a chance to her. Yeah. Correlation is one. Okay, you stole my one question, but yeah, SIEM is what our Cortex XIEM is our product portfolio solution, which we use it for making us a future SOC for our customers, for anyone. Yes, sir.
It is AI.
Yeah. So AI, for AI to run in precision, which also was under discussion, what is required? Sir. Okay, that's a string. That's objective. What is the heart of SOC? So I'll repeat, sir. Automation is again one, sir. No, sir. Baselining is the process, sir. That's the 4 strings. Yes, we want to achieve that. I just want to have a single word. What as per you should be the, what should be the, you can. So I'll give it to him. So data is the heart of precise data, or the data which is qualitative is the heart of any SOC. So if you don't have a data which is good, then anything, including AI analytics, will run over it, won't give you any sense, right? So data is the heart of any SOC. Sir, if you can come over here. I know you're stuck back, but if you can. Puneet. Sir. Thanks for coming, sir. So the last one, this is from Shyam's presentation. So he used a framework, which was, okay. Okay. Okay, you said MITRE first. Before completing, if you can be honest and come over here. Yeah, sir, please. So the framework used by Shyam in his presentation was MITRE framework. There's a true framework which covers the complete threat landscape. Yeah, Vignesh, right? A big clause. Thanks. I still have few. So if someone can volunteer me over here and, just in 4 sentences can cover up how a legacy SOC can be transformed to a future SOC. So I can give chance to anyone want to be here on the stage. Or I can pick someone. You want to be there? You want to just come, consolidate? If you're shy, it's okay, but you can stand there and also do that. You can come? Yeah, please come. Yeah, thanks. Your name?
Paritosh.
You're from Paritosh?
NCR Corporation.
Okay. So Paritosh will consolidate for us 4 lines. He'll do my job more easier. I don't want to consolidate, so I want him to consolidate for me.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So basically what I found the major difference was like the integration of AI ML in the legacy SIM makes the tool better, and using it as a SOAR. So we can say using a legacy SIM as a SOAR and integrating it with AI ML. So we can utilize it better.
So that's only one.
Okay.
You're all revolving around AI.
So first integrating AI ML in a SIM, then using like integrating all the tools.
So one thing I want to say, SIM is not a solution these days. It's a problem these days. Because actually SIM will not solve you any use case if you go further.
So fetching all the data from different sources into one endpoint, making it intelligent by use of AI/ML, and then automating the.
Okay, I'll make it easier for you. Okay, I'll give you 4 words.
Yep. Yes, integrate, automate, orchestrate, and remediate.
Thanks for that, Paritosh, and you can take your voucher as well. Thanks for coming over here. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for giving time over here. It was pleasure, hosting you over here. We'll be here. We have a booth there for next 2 days, and sorry, I was using 2 mics, so. So we have booth over here, and we'll be here if you want to have any questions, if you have any queries which was not answered, you can come to us. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.